Hello, it's Yvonne back to do your bonus read. We're going to use the Tarot Mucha for your reading, and I have the Fool card coming through. Sometimes when the cards really do flip out of the pile, and I have very safe hands when I'm shuffling, so when a card does flip out, especially when it looks like it's flipped out for a reason, I pay particular attention to it. Now, the Fool card is about taking a leap of faith. It's about jumping into the unknown. It's about just deciding you're going to do something and going for it. And sometimes we can be spontaneous like that, but I feel like life needs a lot more spontaneity. We tend to be overly cautious. We tend to sort of watch that we are doing the right things. We are often doing things very much from that part of us that tries to conform to what is socially acceptable. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow the rules, and it doesn't mean that there are certain things you can't, like you can't walk naked in the street. So we know that we can't do certain things. But when the Fool comes around, it's sort of a bit like, you know, somebody saying, would you like this job? And you think, wow, I've never done that before. But instead of sort of going, well, I don't want to do it, you go, I've never done that before. I don't even know how, but gee, I'd love to learn. That sounds awesome. I'd love to have a go at that. You know, even if it's not for me, that's fine. I want to have a go at it. I want to learn from it. And that's the leap of faith. It could be that somebody's coming in to ask you on a date. The person who's asking may not necessarily be someone you could see yourself with long term, but you still have fun with it. That's the Fool card. Even if you feel a little foolish, even if you feel a little silly jumping at something, it's time to jump. The universe saying to you here, take a chance. It'll expand you. It helps you to overcome fears, but overcoming fears really does take you outside of your comfort zone, and that's where the most growth occurs. All right, let's have a look and see where we're going here. Wow, okay, so we've got the Devil energy coming straight through here. So the Devil, this is the card of Capricorn, and there's always this sort of, why is it the card of Capricorn? There's lots of reasons for that. I always think Capricorn is a goat. The goat was very often for many years in art, throughout the ages. The goat has represented the devil, has the same eyes and the cloven hooves. And this is why I feel like this cloven hoof thing sort of made its way into religions, not being able to eat animals that have cloven hoofs. So I feel like that's where it's come from myself, but there are a lot of other explanations as to why it's come in like that. But at the end of the day, the Capricorn does tend to take things a little bit more to the extremes. Like, we are more likely to be workaholics, for example. So we do tend to sort of invest so much energy into something that sometimes we can let other things slide. So it's a very much a Capricorn nature. But we are pretty tenacious and stubborn, and we don't give up very easily. But that's sort of earth sign stuff there, because it does happen with Taurus and Virgo. But the Devil energy talks about taking things to extremes. It's very much the ego energy. It's very much being tied to ways that are not really good for you, or very tied to things that aren't always the right way to go. That's why it represents things like addiction. Because you may be sort of tied to a way of doing things that is not healthy. Now, this can also be codependence, and codependence in effect is addiction to love, addiction to sex, addiction to people. Codependency is very much the energy of putting someone else's needs above your own. All of these things are stuck in your ego. There are things that you have learned when you were very young that feel quite normal to you and like you should be doing. So when the Devil energy comes around, it's usually sort of like that idea that, although it's not a bad card at all, but it is sort of that energy of sort of having a really good look to see whether you're doing something that perhaps isn't the best way for you. You may be dealing with someone who has the Devil energy, and the universe might be saying to you, you need to work with that energy. Is it right for you? Is it healthy? And if not, maybe you need to address it. And this is what you're doing with the Hermit card. Virgo energy coming through here. So a lot of earth energy in the reading already. The Hermit card is a card that talks about taking time out to really understand where you're going and what you want. You could be dealing with a relationship or a situation here that doesn't feel quite right to you or doesn't quite fulfill what you're after. There may be something that you're healing in this energy. So for example, you may be in a relationship that has this energy. You may be dealing with something yourself. Maybe you have an addiction here. So say for example, you have an addiction to food, which is a very common one for many of us. Food for many of us represents love. So we tend to food feels really good when we eat it. It takes us out of our head, stops us thinking, and we sometimes immerse ourselves in food. And for some of us, that means binge eating. So with the Devil card, I'm feeling here, if this is, the issue for you, it could be something the other way around where you don't perhaps treat your body in the best way because you don't really love yourself the way you're meant to. So whatever it is here, you are contemplating how to address this. So you may be looking at, doing some sort of changes within yourself internally. You may be looking at, your eating habits and deciding to become more healthy or to really pay attention to something because there's a change coming through. And there's the Fool card. See, it always comes out when it flips. So there is something here, you're taking some sort of chance on here. There is something that you are changing up or walking away from, or maybe even considering whether it's good for you or whether it's not. I feel like for a lot of people here, I may be talking about some of those habits that you've done for a really long while. This could be, say, for example, deciding to give up smoking, or realizing that some sort of habit you have with yourself is no longer serving you. It could be letting go of an energy with that devil. Could be cutting down on your drinking. It could be addressing an addiction. It could be you understanding more, issues around how you've done things in the past and how they've served you, but they are no longer serving you. Because here we see you taking this leap of faith. This is about saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go for it, and I'm going to change that habit. I'm going to move that out of my life, and moving on. Okay, so we have the Five of Cups here. So for some of you, this may be taking certain people out of your life. It may be leaving a job that's very toxic. You could be walking away from a relationship here where you feel that you've got into this toxic energy. Whatever it is, you are definitely moving away, taking a jump, taking that leap of faith and starting anew and moving towards this abundance with the Ten of Pentacles. So it sort of gives rise to this idea that perhaps you don't realize how abundant you are. Maybe you're chained to an idea of yourself that isn't true, and you may need to work to release that so that you can bring that abundance towards you. But the Devil energy could be as simple as not feeling like you can try something. For example, say you want to be a singer. And you've got an idea in your head that you want to sing, but maybe someone has told you in your life that you wouldn't sing, that you couldn't sing. So you go through life feeling really restricted with this energy, always questioning whether it's right or not. So I'm feeling like here that you are sort of making some sort of decision to take a leap of faith here. And even though you're leaving the past behind, and quite honestly, you could be leaving people behind who've said these things to you, because your abundance is already here, but you didn't see it back here. So whatever this is here, you may be deciding to write that book. You may be deciding to have that relationship. You may be choosing to hop into marriage or something that you've never believed in. Whatever this is here, you are going for something big time. But it's because you're feeling like you've accomplished something within yourself. All right, so we have the Six of Cups coming through. The Six of Cups is a card of nostalgia. It's a card of remembering the past. Now, for the most part, we look back at the past and we do remember, good times we've had. As human beings, we very often sort of blot out the stuff that's caused us trauma, or we forget, or we may have huge gaps in our thinking or in our minds about, certain periods of time. But for the most part, when we're looking back, we see the happiness, the fun. I think that, it's quite easy to look back and see how easy things were then. And I know as people say that all the time, the best times you'll ever have when you're a child. And when people used to say that to me when I was a kid, I used to think that, what a load of hooey. Life's too hard. Oh my goodness, I have to get up and go to school every day. And it's really hard to decide what game to play when I get to school, or who I'm going to spend my time with at school, and I don't like that boy because he picks his nose. You know, and I used to think that was the most hilarious thing to say to a child, because a child has no comparison. But when you're an adult, you realise how children's lives are much easier than adult. They don't have bills to pay. They don't have to worry about paying the rent. They don't have to worry that the job's going to be there tomorrow. So there's sort of that energy of, you know, looking back to this childhood thing and sort of realising how much easier we had it as children. I'm not sure that children do have it that easy. I feel like that's a manipulation. I feel like children find it difficult just the same as adults do. It's just a different kind of difficult. All right, so you're definitely looking back at the past here. I feel like you're very embedded in some sort of memory here, and the stability coming through with the Four of Wands. You could have somebody you're looking back at the past here, somebody who could possibly have been an air sign. You may be looking back at some sort of relationship or some sort of situation that perhaps brought you great happiness here. To me, this is perhaps somebody you felt like you had a future with, somebody who perhaps sort of was very like-minded. Maybe you had a really good connection with this person here, and maybe you did see some sort of future here. But it could be just you looking at the future and sort of seeing things in a very different way. Maybe you've become more stable since sort of working with this devil energy. Maybe you've let something go. Maybe the future's looking a little bit more easy for you. But there is a decision that needs to be made here, and some sort of truth that hasn't been revealed from the past that still somehow lingers with you here. And I feel like you're looking back at the past and you're not quite understanding why you never got the truth of something, or why you were never given the information here that you needed to have. And I feel like it's sort of caught you up in a stalemate. Now, I hear this from people all the time when they say to me, I don't have closure. I don't know why as human beings we think we need closure, but sometimes the closure can be not a very good way to close. Sometimes you're better off finding your own closure. But this is what I'm feeling like. Somehow for somebody from your past has left you stuck on the fence in some sort of stalemate energy with no answers to what happened. And I feel like here you're trying to find out a truth. Let's have a look. All right, so we have the Eight of Pentacles with the World card. Oh, the Moon card. Interesting. Something is about to be revealed here. Something that's going to help you close out a cycle. But I actually feel that you might have found your own closure here with this Eight of Pentacles. It feels like to me that perhaps you did work on something that from your past. So maybe you have sort of found this closure here, even though you didn't get the answers. You may think about it sometimes. You may think it would have been good to know what went on in a person's mind, why they walked away, whatever it is for you here. And even though you're sort of stuck in this energy of stalemate, like I don't have the answers here, I feel like somehow or another the Moon card is telling me that something is about to be revealed to you. And it looks like through some sort of reveal and some sort of answers that you are letting something go or closing down a period of time. But like I said, not always do you get the answers you want. Sometimes the answers come in a very different way, which is always quite interesting energy. All right, let's see what else is going on. I have the Sun here, so you're definitely getting enlightened about something that's going to shock your pants off. There's communication coming in here. All right, let's have a look and see what this is for you. Okay. I feel like something happened here, something you still feel chained to. Now the devil energy is really making me feel that somehow or another you're still chained to this energy of the past. You may have moved on. You may have moved on. You may be ready to move on, but somehow or another this still lingers here with this sort of stalemate energy, something that you've never been able to quite let go of. I feel that you're taking time out, and you may have already done this. So maybe you found your own closure. Maybe you've healed. Maybe you've already done all that work. because there seems to be a feeling here that perhaps you've got into this energy of self-love, and that's what you're meant to do. Because if you'd have had this level of self-love in the first place, your life may have been quite different to what it is now, but you needed to go through what you needed to go through to really grow into the person you are. So we always love the lessons. There is a leap of faith required, and you're leaving something behind. And now I look at this, I feel like perhaps you're leaving whatever this was behind here. Perhaps you're realizing that something much better is in your future, and you're learning to put that closure in place yourself. Maybe you're a little disappointed about leaving it behind, but you're definitely leaving the pain of something behind here. And I feel like you're moving into this beautiful, abundant energy. We do have the King of Swords here as well. So I feel like here you more than likely were dealing with someone, if they weren't an air sign, they were somebody who withheld information from you. Now, whether this was they lied to you or they weren't truthful with you about something, but remember, sometimes withholding is maybe not sharing your feelings. You may have been dealing with somebody who was very logical, very stuck in their own mindset. So what I feel here is that you've perhaps still looking back at this occasion and wondering what it would have felt like had you have got closure. But I still feel like you've moved past that. So it's like, okay, I'm not going to hear what I need to hear, but that's okay. I'm just going to move on and get on with my life. And I feel like something is happening here, because not only are you getting enlightenment here, not only is somebody shining light on what happened in the past, but you've also got the Tower here. And I feel like somehow or another this is helping you to break down past pain. Now, it's possible that through this energy and being stuck in this stalemate energy that you've withheld a lot of your own emotion here with that moon. So there seems to be some sort of release that's coming with this Tower that's going to help you rebuild here. I feel like somehow or another what you need to hear, you weren't ready to hear before. So maybe this need to hear with this sort of energy of enlightenment or awakening, maybe you weren't ready to hear it back when all this occurred. Maybe you weren't in that energy of self-love. But somebody here has not forgotten. Somebody here is still hung on to this. This person is still thinking about the past. But I feel this person is not just thinking about the past. I feel like they have gone through some great change themselves, and they may have walked away from things in their own life here. So this person actually went through a good deal of the same energy you've gone through here. So I feel like somehow or another the answers you're seeking are coming, and they're coming when they were meant to come and not before. But if you haven't done the work on yourself, you'll be still stuck in that stalemate energy, wondering why you didn't get closure. But I feel like the people I'm speaking to here have let go of that energy. I haven't got closure, I haven't been told. This person may never have told you how they felt or what they were going through. This is a person who never had that conversation. But I feel like you're dealing with someone here who's about to make contact here and reveal something to you. Could be dealing with a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio energy here. Somebody who is very, very much in love with you here. Whoever this person is has been holding back on telling you that for whatever reason. They just felt that it was better for them not to say anything. But I feel like it's eaten away at them, and they haven't moved on like you have. So you've probably given it closure, moved past it, and decided to get on with your own life. But I feel like whoever you're dealing with here is still stuck in that energy. Oh my goodness. For the person who wrote to me the other day for the Pleiades card and said, I can't believe how many times the Pleiades, 2 weeks we've been dealing with this. I feel like I need to read it to you again today just to refresh your memory. I feel like somehow or another you're being really called to something here. So keep it in mind, this is about being called to a further or a greater purpose than what you're currently going through now. There is a lot of healing in this Pleiades card. Here it is right at the back. This is about a double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. Now you've got to remember, if you are living in your truth and you've done all the beautiful work you needed to, and there is something else you need here to move you on your path, to get you cemented in the direction you need to go in. You may identify with being a starseed, but if you don't identify with this energy, that's okay too, because what's happening here is you're being moved to a greater purpose. The Pleiadians are a group of star beings dedicated to raising the vibration of the planet and sharing new consciousness through creations and technology. They have been incarnating on Earth since the beginning of humanity. You are a soul who has a double mission: to grow at soul level and to raise the vibration of the planet. If you've been called to write, speak, or channel, this is your sign to keep doing it. Your work is divinely guided. Of all the souls, Pleiadians are the chattiest, and so perhaps you've already started channeling some of this work into the third dimension. Thank you for doing your part in the great plan. Your presence and unique light is needed. I'm going to read you the Work Your Light transmission here, because I feel like for some of you this will really sort of help you to understand your energy. I call upon Pleiadian consciousness of the highest realms and highest good of humanity to work through me. Let me be a channel for only the purest light of the essence of Source. Let me channel in a way that also serves me. So I think that's really beautiful energy, but quite interesting how it keeps coming out. Blows me away. All right, thank you.